Good morning. Okay, some of you are paying attention on that one. Good morning. There we go. I didn't want to have to get the spoon out like I did for my kids. Pay attention. First things first, out on the table out there, I have found an iPhone. Now, I have one, but I could use another one. So if somebody is missing their phone, it looks like somebody with a grandchild, maybe. It's a lovely picture. It's a woman on the front with a grandchild. Darn, I could have used that for one of the 6 kids. Okay, I want to welcome everyone, especially those of you who have the little square pins on that I hope you have on, because they're really for the rest of us and not for you, so that we know this is your first year. So welcome to you guys for coming. Yeah. Oh, God, that was pathetic. Yay. Okay, I'm supposed to welcome you for the board of directors. It's funny because Dana said you need to welcome the board of directors. So I'm welcoming the board of directors. Who's here from the board of directors?
That's going to be as important as the show.
That would be me. This is the first time that I am representing the board, so I've had to behave a little bit more this year. Not a whole lot more, but I did not get into that. What I hear was a really, really riotous game of Cards Against Humanity last night. Heard you took it all the way down to the lobby. And people could steal you upstairs. So anyway, look for that tonight, because maybe that will be happening again tonight. I'd like to have people who are on the advisory board stand up and recognize them. I'm not on that one. So all of you guys who are on the advisory board. Yay. Thank you, thank you. And let's see, what else am I supposed to do? Oh, yes, I'm mentioning that. Do not leave after the keynote is over, because we're all going to get together for the group picture. Yes, so we're going to go out that way, and I think we're going to do it outside this year, so it's going to be really great. So everybody stay in the vicinity so you can follow directions of where to go. That's that. Okay, I'm supposed to be introducing our speaker today. So in doing that, I was trying to come up with, what do I say to introduce her? I guess I start with, in September of 2007, after a lot of pleading and encouragement from a lot of friends, I started a blog. And it was supposed to be about the humor of raising 6 children. You have to kind of look for the humor sometimes, but there's a lot of humor in that, and it was for our family and friends. 3 months later, it became a very different blog because my husband died suddenly the week before Christmas. And then it was just about me. It wasn't about anything. It wasn't for anyone. It was the only place I had to go where I could just vomit up every feeling that I had, and that's what I did. I didn't censor it. I put out there what grieving was like. A lot of my friends didn't like it, but a lot of widowed people did. And one day, in the early spring, I think, I got an email from this woman who said, "You don't know me, and I'm not sure how I came across your blog. I got it in my inbox, but I went and I read the whole thing. And I think you're wonderful. I'd like to talk to you sometime. Here's my phone number if you want to give me your phone number." So I thought, well, I don't know who this woman is, but I'll give her my phone number. She's never going to call. She's got some organization she's just now starting. And then one day the phone rang. And I remember the day because my mom and dad were visiting, and I went into the office and answered the phone, and it was this woman named Michele. And she did call me. And she was very encouraging and just said, "I like your writing. I want you to just keep writing. And I want to tell you a little bit about Soaring Spirits." And we're having our first conference, because it was a conference then on widowhood and not Camp Widow. It was some god-awful name that I can't remember. Something like the National Conference on Widowhood or something. Not cute, like Camp Widow. So I went in the summer, and from that point on, the direction of my life was changed. And I'm not sure where I would be today and what I'd be doing. It would not be as meaningful to me as it is now. I know that for sure. Not too long after that, she asked me to write on the blog, and I did that for about 3 years, and I also am on the board. So it was really life-changing for me. And you are here because your direction of your life has been changed or is changing because you're here for the first time. Those of you who are here for the second, third, fourth, 10th, 11th, whatever time, you know that the direction of your life has been changed. So I would like to welcome the founder of Soaring Spirits and the woman who is the reason that we are all here to support each other and love each other and know that we are not alone, Michele Neff Hernandez.
It really was called the National Conference on Widowhood. And I thought it was a good idea. What do you call something like this? I really wanted people to think that it was serious. That was before we had done one. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you all out here today. And you looked beautiful last night. And I love the way that you were connecting with each other and really what Camp Widow is about, and I probably don't even need to tell you this, I bet you figured it out already, is the power of those connections. So it's great. We try to provide you with this framework for the experience, but a lot of what happens and a lot of what changes people's lives about this event is the opportunity for you to find people like you. Did you know there were people like you? I remember when I was first widowed, I was pretty sure there wasn't anybody like me. And that's what made me go looking for you. And once I found a few of you, I thought it'd be really cool if we could all be in the same space because I knew that what had really changed my life was other widowed people. So I thought we'd talk about Valentine's Day. Yeah? You can imagine the face of this really cute little guy at Joanne's fabric store, which is where I purchase a lot of things for the Camp Widow banquet. And my basket looked like Valentine's Day threw up in it. And I'm loading all this stuff on, and he says, "Oh, are you planning a party?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." And I wish I could tell you that he asked me what kind of party because I was waiting to see if he would, but I think it probably saved him that I didn't. Here's the irony of when we got the dates for camp. So you all may know or may not know, depending on if you've ever scheduled a conference, but you get a selection of dates. You don't get to just pick what date you like. And so when I saw the selection of dates and I saw the weekend before Valentine's Day, my first thought was, ugh. And my second thought was, yes. Yes. That's the one. So I did actually pick it out of all the others intentionally, and here's why. Whether or not you and your partner or spouse thought Valentine's Day was the thing, or if you thought it was a court-mandated day to tell your person you loved them or else, then it doesn't matter which one of those things, which category you fall into, because are you able to escape the Valentine's Day frenzy? And the pictures on the TV that tell you that you should currently be purchasing a ring, the many reminders you will get in the mail that tell you about the Valentine's flower specials that are available right this minute. Don't forget to order. The cards, the radio spots, even Pandora. You can't get away from Valentine's Day. And here's the thing that's difficult is that when you've experienced the loss of the person you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, what it flashes to me is less than. Right? You hear all those messages and you think, but I don't have that. And instead of the message being, I did have that, it's like, I don't have that. So in this moment right now, Valentine's Day is this sort of less than reminder. And you can't escape. So it doesn't matter if Valentine's Day made a dang bit of difference to you, You can't get away from the fact that there's messages out there all the time talking about the fact that other people are celebrating love on this day. And you ask yourself, what am I celebrating on this day? Whether or not I ever celebrated it before doesn't matter. Case in point. My late husband, Philip, was not what you would call a romantic. In some ways, I'll say. You may disagree with me shortly. Anyways, he thought Valentine's Day was the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, I'm a girly girl. I wanted the flowers. And he would sometimes, pick one coming in. We had a few. I mean, what do you say? Thank you. That's so sweet. It's the thought that counts. He knows. He knows. So we had a few conversations about Valentine's Day over our years together. We were married for 5 years, and here's he's got so many ironies around Valentine's Day. He proposed to me on Valentine's Day. So seriously, and then he couldn't manage to send me flowers ever again? On Valentine's Day. The thing is, it was a boycott. You will not send them on Valentine's Day. Sometimes he would even send them the day after or the day before. And I'm like, really? So we go through this, we've gone through this a few times by now. And I thought, I got it. All right, fine. You think that this is a terrible idea. I think that it's a great time to tell the person you love that you love them. How about I buy a journal? And it's going to be our journal to each other. And then we'll write to each other messages to each other each time. This journal was started on February 14th, 2005. So if any of you know my story, you know that he died August 31st, 2005. So I'm like, oh, should I take the journal? So forgive me if I get a little breaky. All of the letters that he wrote me, guess what day? Valentine's Day. Because by the end of the Valentine's Day, I was pissed at him because he hadn't sent me flowers. And so he would always write me a note or something. But what's the great irony of the fact that literally all the writing I have from him, not all of it, but the majority, is on Valentine's Day. So I wanted to share with you the last poem he wrote me on Valentine's Day. He was not a poet, but I am going to share the poetry with you. Sorry, honey. It says, "To my Wonder Woman." And actually, this one was not the last one, sorry. 2003, February 14th, 2003. When we first met, it's not in prose, it's all over the place, so I gotta. When we first went out, who would have guessed? You and me in love on a trail, always being a dirty mess. We made it this far, all the way up the trail, even on days it was about to hail. Our future looks bright as we sit at the beach. He hated the beach. I loved the beach. Never letting our love wander too far out of reach. As I finish this poem, I hope you can see that I'm not much of a writer, so please don't stop loving me. 2003. So 2005, okay, now it's all sweet. I get it. It's very nice. But this was after a long fight. 2003, we've had the conversation again, and then he comes to me with the Wonder Woman poem, and I can't be mad at him anymore. And I'm like, seriously, can't we just do this in the beginning of the day? So this is how the journal came to be. 2005, he writes, "Babe, not the piggy." You know Babe the pig? "Thank you for being so wonderful every day. You truly make my life a joy. Happy So What Day." Now, I'm sharing this with you because I want to point out, Valentine's Day was not a big deal to this man, despite all evidence to the contrary. And so, when you think about Valentine's Day, when I was coming to our first Valentine's Day, I kind of thought, finally, we're not going to have a fight. And then the first Valentine's Day came, and I was like, oh, I can't believe we're not having a fight. I just wanted him to fight with on Valentine's Day. And we were supposed to do the second entry in the journal. And instead of the second entry in the journal, this journal became the letter I wrote to him every single day at the end of every single night for the first year. And so it starts with his words, and it ends with mine. And whenever I see this, it's such a pairing of the beauty of the beginning and the middle. because there's not an end, right? This was the middle. The tragedy of losing him was the middle. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that, let's look at those ads that come out on Valentine's Day. Let's focus specifically for a minute on the engagements. It's all about the beginning of the story, right? The beginning of your love, the day that you decided that you were going to spend your lives together. But what we don't talk about is the idea of what that actually implies. What are we implying when we say, I love you and I want to love you for the rest of my life? We're saying, I want to love you until you die. I want to be the person who loves you to the last breath you take. And you know what, my friends? You are the ultimate love story. You are the ultimate love story. And when you hear all the Valentine's Day propaganda, I really hope that what you start to think is not so much about what's not available to you right now. And what I mean by that is the physical presence. Somebody to have a fight with on Valentine's Day, for me. Or the flowers that aren't going to come, or the chocolate that's not going to be landing. I want you to think about the fact that you are the ultimate love story. Yours is the ultimate love story. So that when you hear the message, let's celebrate love, you don't think, but that doesn't apply to me. Oh, yes it does. Not only does it apply to you, but every single person who's going down on bended knee or having a shocked face or thinking that they were going to come to that moment any day now, or just have decided to hold a hand and say, you and I, we're going to spend our lives together. You are an example to them of what they hope to achieve. And sometimes it's so hard, because we're on this side, right? This journal, it started with words of love that were supposed to fix a serious problem. And what it turned into was the celebration of what we had, the missing of what we had. I get that. I'm not saying don't miss it. I'm just saying remember to value the part that is you and your love story. Don't let people's other love, whatever's going on in the world outside, make you feel like yours is less than because it's not coming in the form of roses and candies and poems or calls on the phone. It's not less than. It is actually the idea, the whole point. And when we're on the other side, when I was writing the words that are written in this journal, I wasn't ready to understand yet that this love was still something I'd celebrate later. It felt like the loss of it was so overwhelming that I couldn't think about anything except for what I didn't have. I wasn't ready yet to think about what I did have. And I want to tell you, what is it? So how does it matter now? How does Phil's love matter to me now? And I don't know how many of you know, I am remarried. I have an amazing husband who actually usually comes to Camp Widow, but he's at home working this time. And so on Valentine's Day, I always think of Phil, and that's okay. It's part of my story. But how does Phil's love impact me today? And how will the love that has come into your life affect you? And I started thinking about roots. And the fact that so much of what I missed, was feeling grounded. I don't know if any of you felt like somebody had cut your balloon string and you started floating. And I didn't feel like there was any end to that ever, where am I going feeling? And I couldn't feel my roots. I didn't feel grounded. I felt like I was standing on this shift that was constantly moving, and with every move, I was thrown. And then even when you get better, you still get thrown occasionally because you don't know when the shift is coming. And so I started really thinking a lot about what is that? What is that? The love is what I felt grounded me. I was grounded by that love. And then when I felt separated from it and my balloon string got cut, I couldn't feel my roots. But when you think about it, so, I like to research these things. And I started researching roots. Imagine how exciting it was. And here's what I discovered. There's a lot of different kinds of roots, as it turns out. Obviously, I'm not much of a horticulturalist. Is that the right way to say it? Is there anybody out here who knows? Thank you, that thing. And I didn't really know anything about roots. And so I started doing some research and discovering that there are all different kinds of roots and there's all kinds of depths of roots. And I started imagining us as small children. And you planted your little tree. You're a small tree. And you have roots. And for some of you, you were well loved as children. And you began to develop roots that were going to sustain the growth of your tree. For others of you, maybe that wasn't your story. Maybe you weren't well loved as a child. And you had to decide and find your own way to start growing your roots. But here's what we all have in common. Then we found our person. And that person started to water our tree with their love. And what that happened then is that you started developing a root base. A huge root base. I didn't know that root bases, the base of the roots, is generally 2 to 4 times the size of the top of the tree. 2 to 4 times. And so, as I was imagining your small tree growing and growing, and then the moment when you came together, the moment when you knew that one is one I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Let me say again, because we're on this side, because I was on the journal side, I was thinking only about the fact that I was spending the rest of my life with Phil. But guess what? Phil did spend the rest of his life with me. So sometimes you got to think about it from this side over here. And just step out just for a minute so you can look and be proud of what you've given. It's a gift that not everyone gets. So as you're developing this root system with the person who you decided to spend the rest of your life with, you're starting to grow. They helped you grow, but not only did they help you grow, they helped you develop a root system. But if you've ever seen a tree that's tipped over, you know what those roots look like? It's like a mess of craziness going on down there. They grow in every way. There's really no predictable pattern. And guess what? It depends on what kind of tree it is as well. And I think that when you think about that, you determine what kind of tree are you. Some of us are willows, and we're able to bend a little bit more easily than others. Some of us are huge oak trees, and that means that our branches may spread really, really far, and we have a really solid center. Some of us may be pine trees. The reason I point this out is this. You can't compare your growth to anyone else's. And I'm going to say that to you again. Every tree grows differently. And your growth cannot be compared to the person sitting next to you, to the person sitting across from you, to the person you're going to meet later today. So while we have so many similarities, if we're 18 months and 18 months, or 4 years and 4 years, or 10 years and 10 years, well, we're not the same tree. And our growth pattern is going to be different because of that. It's so easy to look at other people and think, I should be. You are you, and your tree is going to grow in your unique way. I want you to hear that again. There is no comparing person to person where you are or where you're supposed to be. So one of the things I found out about roots that I thought was particularly cool is that one of the roles they play in the growth of the tree is repair. So if we think about the love that our loved ones, we shared with them as roots, right? So they've impacted your roots. Now they've become your roots. That means their love, ongoing, is going to help you with the repair of your tree. I don't know how many of you feel that your trees have been damaged, I'm going to guess that might be about 100%. If you're feeling that your tree has been damaged and you cannot imagine how it is going to be repaired, I want you to know that the love that you shared with the person whose presence is absent from your physical life right now, and that's the reason we're all in this room, their love is fueling your repair. Their love is fueling your repair, and their love is fueling your growth. So there's a thing that happens. For every person it's different, but there's a day when something good happens. And first it's a foreign object, right? Because you're like, what is that? It looks like it could be a good thing. Wait, this is my life. How did that get here? You see the foreign object. You're a little afraid of it because, bad things happen. I don't know if any of you have been told, but bad things happen. And so you see this good thing and you think, God, that can't be for me. And then suddenly you realize, yeah, really, it is actually for me. And I got to touch it and I got to feel it and I got to sort of allow it to come in. But there's a fear there. For me, there was, yeah, right, a great thing, awesome. How long is it going to take before that goes? And so there isn't when you're fearing the good things, right, then there comes this next fear, which is, would he recognize me now? If she met me today, would she choose me again? After the journey that I've lived, at whatever point this question is coming to you, would he or she choose me again today? Because guess what? Grief will change you. It has to. How could it not? How could this experience not change you? And the thing is, it only seems like it's bad because we've been conditioned because of the experience of living this life that we've been living to believe that it's got to all be bad, right? There can't be one good thing that comes from this. And when a good thing happens to walk too close, we're like, whoa, 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 you stay over there. I'm very used to the bad. Thank you very much. And here's the thing. That's not just 3 months, 6 months, 18 months. That can be 10 years. Because we don't know when the fear of accepting a good thing into our life is going to strike. In the same way as we don't know when one of those grief triggers is going to shift our foundation. We can't predict them. But I want you to remember this. You can't outgrow your roots. Every bit of this experience has created more roots. And so when I thought somebody had cut my balloon string, actually it was my roots holding me down, even in my sorrow. Even in the moments where I thought, this is awful. I don't even want to be here. I don't know how many of you have felt free to say that. I can tell you I didn't tell my mom. Because they don't understand what that means. Unless you've lived through the loss of someone so close to you, you can't understand the feeling of, I don't want to be here, which doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take my life. It just means I don't want to live in my life. Thank you very much. And there's no way for other people to kind of figure that out. What do you mean by you don't want to be in your life? Do I need to call someone? And that's a fair question. It's not that it's not a good question to ask. It is, but here's the thing. I didn't want to be in my life because it was so painful. What I didn't see at the time because it was too close, was that even my sorrow was anchoring me. It was anchoring me. And as I grew through my sorrow, those anchors were actually even deeper as a result of what? The love you had. Right? You're not going to mourn something you didn't love. And the mourning of the loss is actually watering your roots. It's making those roots hardier. The purpose of roots is to take from the soil the things that the tree needs to grow. So let's go back to the question, would he or she recognize me? Would they choose me now? 10 years later, would Phil dress up in a tuxedo and come to the widow banquet? Probably not. Not his thing. But that's okay. And I get to keep the guy who was on the trail a dirty mess. And I also get to make space in my life for a man who does wear a tuxedo and come to the widow banquet happily to take pictures and dance. Not with me. It's so easy to think that any period of growth is taking you away from your love, right? Away from the life you had, away from what grounded you. But you can't escape your roots. You're not going to outgrow them. They will anchor you in the same way they anchored you when you loved a person who was standing right next to you. That same love is now the anchor through which you will continue to grow. The other thing I thought was interesting is that trees, I was reading something, and I wish I could cite it exactly, so forgive me, but you could ask Google, and it will tell you. I believe it might even be the answers on ask.com. I asked if trees grow from the bottom or the top. I told you I didn't know anything about this. I mean, I kind of knew, but I thought I'd better check. And the answer was, like humans, trees grow in all different ways. What a cool thing. Like humans, trees grow in all different ways. And one of the ways they grow is by budding. I'm doing pretty good, right? Little buds, they turn into shoots, they reach out. So the top portion of the tree can expand in any which way. And to me, the love that's anchoring you, that's fueling your growth, is going up, up, up. And do you know where you're going to go? Out, out, out. All the while, very securely anchored by the love that you've known in your life. And it's every bit of love, right? So here's the thing. Where does Michael fit in my tree picture? That's the name of my husband. Sorry, I should have introduced him. He's adding to my roots. And him and Phil's love is all crisscrossed, just like those trees that you see turned upside down. They're crisscrossed together, and they are adding to my roots and adding to my grounding. And every bit of love that you've had, and I'm talking about your friends, I'm talking about your widowed people, I'm talking about if you have children, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your best friend, every bit of that love down in your roots. Remember that. You are in the moments when you think, I'm completely alone. Look to your roots. Look to your roots. Because every bit of love you have ever known comes with you. It is a part of your evolution. And I know you didn't want to evolve. I didn't want to evolve either. I didn't want to be standing up here. If someone had said, Michelle, here's the thing. You can start a really great organization. It'll probably help millions of people. But here, if you could just kill Phil off, that's all we need. I'm sorry, you guys. I would not have chosen you. But I didn't get a choice, and neither did you. And neither did you. But here's the choice we do have. We can look to our roots as we evolve and as we reach out to other people. And we have that opportunity even in the darkest part of our sorrow. Even in the darkest part. You know you're going to meet other people who are struggling. And if you touch their hand just for 2 seconds, you've connected. You've made a difference. Your little tiny limb, it's starting to reach out. Every handhold is a bud. Every bud is an opportunity to stretch. And you know where that came from? Your roots. So if you think that your loved one is not a part of your future, I want you to look at a tree and look down. Because that tree is not stretching to the heavens without some serious roots. Valentine's Day is going to change from this point forward because I want you to take with you the thought that you are the love story. And what I'm going to ask of you, if you would, is to join us in a unique Valentine's Day gift to other widowed people. one of the things that was in my Valentine's Day throw-up cart, and I want you to just don't be afraid. I promise I'm not going to rain hearts on you or, kiss me little thing, candies. I won't. But one of the things that was in the cart is kids' Valentines. We got Ninja Turtles. We got Spider-Man. We got the Peanuts, I think. And what I would like you to do, you're going to find a table that's outside throughout the day. And I would love it if you would do 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, however many you think, messages to other widowed people. Not a widowed person, mind you. So you're not writing it to any specific person. You're writing a message to another widowed person for Valentine's Day. And I'm hoping that what you're going to say to them is your love matters. I'm hoping that what you're going to say to them is you've been well loved. Or maybe you loved well. Or maybe something along the lines of your love story matters. But what we're going to do with those is a surprise, so you're going to have to trust me. But I really need like 3 or 4 or 5 from every one of you. So if you could please, you're going to find a table. You can do it any time. It'll be there tonight. It'll be there tomorrow morning. And guess what? We even have little mailboxes to put in envelopes, right? I told you there was a lot in the cart. So if you would join me in that, in the effort to make Valentine's Day for us a celebration of a love that has changed your life, and that is your roots. That love is your roots. And I can't wait to see how high your tree's going to grow. Because I know, I know because you're here. I know because you struggle. I know because I look in your face and I know you're thinking sometimes, how? You know what that is? That's proof that the love in your life has changed you. That you're trying to find your way to take that love and blend it into your life as you move forward. I don't know if anyone told you that you can't get over it. Did anyone let you know yet? There's no getting over it? I hope that's not scary to anyone. All the people who say, get over it. Are you over it yet? Have you gotten over it yet? Just checking. Anybody over it yet? Stand up. Kelly Lynn's over it. You can see her later. It's a loaded question. You can't imagine how many times people ask me. I've been wedded 10 years. I have a new husband. And they're like, seriously? Is she ever going to get over it? No. I'm not going to get over it. How do you get over love? Of course not. You don't get over it. You take it and you use it. And so I want you, when you see the good thing, that foreign object, make friends with it. Make friends with it. I know it's a risk. But I'll tell you what. Anything that includes love is adding to your roots. And yeah, we are going to have to say goodbye to things in this life. We are going to have to do that. The hardest thing to do when I married Michael was to say, till death do us part. I don't know, I say this in my workshops. I don't know if I've said it from here, actually. About 2 weeks before we got married, I still hadn't written my vows. And I was talking to my best friend, who's also widowed, and I said, I think we're just going to write vows and not do anything traditional. And she said, oh, okay, that sounds good. And then she said, why? I said, I can't say it. And she goes, what? I said, I can't say till death do us part. I'm afraid, if I try to say those words, the flashback's coming, the tsunami's coming from me, I'm going to stand here in front of my new husband, wah! I was like, no, that can't happen. We're going to do a totally different thing. I'm not going to say it. And she's quiet for a minute, and she says, Michele, don't you think he deserves that? And I said, I hate you. And I said the words, and I meant the words in a whole different way. And guess what? No tsunami. So I just want to remind you, whatever the good thing is, it could be a new relationship, it could be a new job, it could be just a new phase of your life. Whatever it is, make friends with it and add it to your root system. I'm going to close with this reminder. It's impossible to outgrow your roots. It's impossible to outgrow your roots. And one of the functions of roots is repair. So for your brokenness, in your brokenness, the love you've known is the healing agent. It is. And that's going to come straight up from the roots, and that's going to fuel the growth, and that's going to fuel the outreach. Thank you for taking the risk to come to Camp Widow. Thank you for sharing your love stories with us. I'm thanking you in advance for writing 4 or 5 or 10 Valentine's Day cards. It doesn't have to take long, just do a few. It's an honor to be a part of your story. And I'm so grateful for the ways that you will impact each other and for the opportunity to share the presenters who are coming and the times that you're going to have those moments where you realize where your growth, an idea like, I might want to grow in that way. I'm looking so forward to that. Thank you. And we're going to do a group picture shortly. Thank you for coming. Good.
Okay, so our group photo, we're going to do it outside today. So if you will exit the ballroom and go to your left, that staircase outside of the foyer, we're going to stand single-filely down the stairs and we're going to take a photo looking up. So if you'll follow Michelle to your left, we'll get an awesome group photo.